Hi, everyone. Good morning to you. It's 8 o'clock on the start of your Friday morning. Thank you so much for being with us on Second Cup. So glad you're starting the weekend early, perhaps, with us. Hey, Patty Watson is here with us this morning. And Patty, I want to chat with you in just a couple of seconds about the Human Buffalo Love event that's coming up on July 20th that all of you Cuppies can get involved in. But first, I want to point out that if you look over Patty's head, we've got a brand new logo here showing the Nickel Plate as our brand new sponsor for Second Cup. So we're excited to announce a partnership between Second Cup and the Nickel Plate. It's going to be super great. We're going to be speaking with them live in studio next week, and we are really looking forward to it. And we should point out that Cuppies, there are some special deals attached to this sponsorship just for you, some freebies, some giveaways. We are pumped for this. So we'll be talking about that a lot more next week. So the Nickel Plate and Second Cup, we are teaming up. This is great. Glad you're all with us as we start our Friday. Patty Watson from Human Buffalo Love. This is a really cool event that's coming up July 20th. Patty, tell us all about it. This is a huge deal that you need a lot of people for.
Yes, I'd like to invite you to come on down and be part of our Human Buffalo Love. We've created 6 over the years past, and we're bringing it back. And this year is going to be a tie-dye buffalo. We need about 1,000 people to stand in. Very much a family event. Bring the children, bring the neighbors, bring the friends, your work friends, and it's a blast. You start out by getting your shirts early on, either
Cool.
early pickup, or you can get them day of. And the multitude of colors being worn in the T-shirts help make up the design of the T-shirt.
Yeah, I was wondering about
logo.
how do we make this a tie-dye buffalo? Because all things considered, that's hard.
Right.
With 1,000 people.
So the people are the pixels
Got
of the
it.
photo.
Okay.
So the T-shirts are part of the pixels, and by being in certain locations, it helps, create the design.
So do you know where you're going to put the light blue or the pink or the dark blue?
Yes.
Do you know?
Exactly.
Wow.
Yes.
So you're gonna, do you like have it mapped out
So
or something?
we spray paint the grass, and there's locations for each segment.
Okay. So like Patty, you're going to like A1. Ed, you're going to C3.
Right.
Cool.
Right. Yeah. And the whole load is only 7 minutes.
Wow.
So you're not going to be there for hours. It's just a matter of minutes. We get everyone in the perimeter and we say 1, 2, 3, go, and then it assembles very quickly.
Wow. Oh, who gets to be the white heart in the middle?
Maybe Team Channel 7. I don't know. Maybe.
I kind of like
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Maybe the Cuppies
Yeah.
can get involved. So
Yeah.
tell us how we can buy tickets for this, because we do need to buy tickets to actually get in the door, and it comes with lunch and a T-shirt.
Yes, absolutely. So you can register at humanbuffalolove.eventbrite.com.
Okay.
You can also come on down to Canal Side on 716 Day and pick up T-shirts and tickets right then.
Okay, thank goodness. I'm glad that Jim can hear us just fine. Melly was saying we're having some mic issues, but my mic is on. Patty's mic is on too, so we're good to go here. Thank goodness, because you know what can happen here, Cuppies. Adults, $30. Children 6 to 17 are $15 each. Kids 5 and under are free.
Correct.
And you're saying this is a family-friendly event, so we can bring your children, bring your coworkers, bring your BFF, your ex-BFF, and then some others, right?
Yes. Yes. Buffalo Fire Department will be providing a fire truck for us to put our photographers in, and they get the aerial view of the 1,000 people that we'll be assembling.
Okay. And then Peter wondering, can we drop a link in the comments to the page? Again, it is, I saw it, humanbuffalolove.eventbrite.com. John Marrero, our executive producer, is going to drop a link in the comments for us as well so that you can buy your tickets. When do we need to buy tickets before?
You can actually buy them day of.
Oh,
I would
great.
encourage you to get your tickets early. You can get your shirts picked up early if you like, and
Okay.
then it's just an enjoyable morning.
Yes, I love this, Kelsey. Bring your gunkle. That is probably the best idea. That's probably the best kind of uncle there is. No offense to the straight uncles out there, but gunkles are better. Patty, this shirt is so comfortable. So everyone's using these Bella canvas shirts nowadays.
Yeah, super
The
soft.
material is so soft, and it's like being hugged by a piece of cotton. Not any of that like itchy, uncomfortable, stiff cotton. This is
Right.
like active and almost, I don't know, it's just like that really comfortable texture.
Yes.
Why is this so important for you?
I want the participants to be able to enjoy the shirt long after the event. It's not just for the single day, throw a t-shirt on and get in. It's part of our memory of having partaken in the event.
Love this.
So
how did you start this? Why did you start it? And like, what's the thought process behind it?
So 10 years ago, we decided to create an aerial photo celebrating Buffalo and the revitalization and all the attention we had on the waterfront. I already was an aerial designer and having done many aerial photo formations. So I wanted to do something that really let people come out and participate and really just feel active about how much they love being downtown. And we created our blue buffalo with the red heart
Right.
and that became our brand. The t-shirts people wore on that day, people couldn't get enough of them. So, we started reproducing them, and the brand has grown over the past 10 years.
Let me ask you, just so that we can answer Kim's question, where and when. Canal Side, Saturday, July 20th, 10 a.m.
Yes.
And gather at what time?
10 a.m. is the cutoff to arrive.
Okay.
So really 9 a.m. is registration.
Okay.
The formation is at 10:15 sharp.
Okay, good to know. Let me ask you, because you just said something that was really interesting to me, and I've been wondering about this lately. Do you still, here we are 10 years later.
Yes.
You started this in 2014, paused for a little while because of COVID, but 10 years later, here we are in 2024. Do you still feel like Buffalo is going through that revitalization?
Absolutely. Our brand Buffalo apparel has grown so much, and it has evolved into people wanting to wear a brand, wanting to wear a big buffalo, wanting to wear a small buffalo, some sort of indication of where you're from.
Mhm.
You see people all over the country that are traveling wearing it, or expats. People are really, really Buffalo proud.
That's great. And I feel
Yeah.
like there's a spirit here that is like no other. And when you are here, you feel it. I love living in Buffalo, and I've been here 14 years. And I tell this story often. I thought I would be here for 3 years when I first moved here to work
Right.
at Channel 4. And I was like, okay, like I'm doing one contract and I'll see you later, Buffalo.
Uh-huh.
Great, good to know you. Here I am 14 years
Yeah,
later,
great.
and there's no getting out of here.
Right. Right. I mean,
Sucks you in, doesn't it?
Right. I mean, you've got to love the community spirit that we have.
Yeah.
Coming together for the good times and the bad times or whatever. We are together, and we are the city of good neighbors.
This money also benefits Western New York Heroes and the Bob Woodruff Foundation. So all of the money that is actually raised here for this Buffalo picture goes to two really great causes. Again, it's $30 for adults, kids 6 to 17, $15, and kids 5 and under are free. All of this, again, Saturday, July 20th at 10 a.m. You can buy tickets at humanbuffalo.eventbrite.com. John put a link in the comments here. So, hey, go buy your tickets, get them early. We need 1,000 people down at
Yes.
Canal Side.
Yes,
how many do
come
you have
join
right
us.
now,
It's
Patty?
it's really fun. We have over 200, and then we have invited guests from Western New York Heroes and several volunteers. So
Okay,
it's,
so
we're getting there, but people tend to procrastinate. So come on, people, come join us.
listen, our cuppies know how to come out in style. So please help us out here. We need 1,000 people. Only 200 have signed up, so we need about 800 more. And if each one of you cuppies bring 2 or 3 people, that means that we could hit this goal really
Yes.
easily, very quickly.
Yes, thank you.
Patty Watson from Buffalo, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's talk this morning. Kristen says she loves the Buffalo clothes. That's great. Bob says he moved here in 1988 and said I would be out in 1 year. 34 years later, he's still here. Bob, I love this for you. Okay, Peter says he's highly considering
Great.
That's
great.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Jeanette says, yeah, don't make us cry. Oh my gosh, no, don't cry. Jeff, we won't let you go, says Linda. Love this. But Jeff says, unfortunately, he's got an event that day. Jeff, what's your event? Let us know. Lynn says, I think you'll get over 1,000 people. My Girl Scout troop would love to come. Okay.
Yeah,
there you
great.
go. All right. The link is in the comments. Patty Watson from Buffalo. Thank you so much.
Thank
John, I'll take your microphone from you
Okay.
as you're heading
Yeah.
out. Okay. Let's talk about a couple of different things. You can go.
Okay, I don't know.
worry about it. Just don't fall, Patty,
I won't.
because that chair, you know how tricky that chair is.
Later.
Are we going to camera 3 here? What are we doing, you guys? Help me help you, please. There we go. We're zooming into a one shot on camera 2. I love this. You never know what's going to happen on Second Cup, but it happens no matter what. Jeanette says I have an event that day, but I'm going to try to swing by this. Oh, Summerfest, Jeff said. Order on the lake. Awesome. Okay. So a couple of other things we want to talk about this morning. So much going on around town, including the Taste of Buffalo, which is probably the coolest thing happening this weekend. Thousands of people are coming to downtown Buffalo, and we are expecting 40 plus restaurants to go around Niagara Square and go up Delaware Avenue from Niagara Square. So if you are one of those people who loves food or one of those people who is looking for something fun to do, listen, this might be the opportunity for you. Tickets can be bought at those tents as you're walking in. I'm going to be a food judge there. I can't wait. Russell and I are going to be there as well. Danielle's asking for a quick change for chairs. I know it's so weird sitting on this side, and I really, to be honest with you, don't love it. I feel kind of uncomfortable for what it's worth. So you're right. I would love to go back over there, but I'll stay here so that we don't confuse anyone behind the scenes here. Okay, let's talk about something serious here, because a lot of you are reading this on WKBW.com, and a lot of people are already making opinions. And I want to hear your voice on this as we continue to monitor the situation here in Buffalo. 2 officers on administrative leave this morning, as per departmental policy. One shot and killed a man on Wednesday morning about midnight. And the video itself is alarming, but the fact that there was a 6-year-old in the car where this man was shot is perhaps more alarming. We never want to see the death of a man. We never want to see people die, and police certainly don't want to open fire using their service weapons. But unfortunately, sometimes they have to. That's just the reality of working in law enforcement. This situation, though, the police commissioner, Joe Gramaglia in Buffalo, says that he was stunned to see that nothing like this has ever happened. Basically, the police officers pulled this man over in a car on Wyoming, right near William Gator Parkway on Wednesday morning about 12 or just after 12 o'clock. And they said he was speeding and had dark tints, so they pulled him over. Guy was totally cool, according to the video. When they walk up to him, they ask for ID, find out he doesn't really have ID. So the officer walks back to the car, runs his name, runs a couple of other things, comes back to the driver and says, okay, I need you to step out of the car. The officer opens the door. But then with that 6-year-old in the front seat, the driver speeds off with the police officer holding on for dear life. He goes, you're going to kill me, bro. You're going to kill me, bro. Basically pleading with the driver to stop. The driver doesn't stop. The police officer reaches for his gun, takes his gun out and fires 5 times, shooting and killing that man. And then that man falls out onto the street. The car keeps going, finally comes to a stop. The man is in the middle of the street. The officer runs back to make sure that the 6-year-old is okay. And he was, thankfully. My biggest concern here, as I said this morning, is now for that family that's mourning now a second loss, because the man who was shot and killed is the brother of Jalen Griffin, who went missing in 2020, was found dead in April. So now they're dealing with 2 losses, which is awful. But also my concern is for this 6-year-old who now has witnessed violence. And as we know from the Surgeon General's report that just came out a couple of weeks ago, children who are involved or who see gun-related violence are then more likely to pick up arms in their later years, their teenage years, their adult lives. And that cycle kind of perpetuates itself. And that is concerning to me. So I think it's really important, as I said earlier this morning, that we wrap our arms around this young boy, this 6-year-old, who really is a victim in and of himself of unfortunate circumstances. So I just feel so badly for them. Linda, good morning to you. She says the officer was justified in the shooting. The man decided to drive without a license, and had a child in the front seat. Julie, good morning. Glad you're with us as well. My personal opinion about the officer is he did what he had to do. He was put in a situation by the guy pulled over that left the officer no other choice. Shirley says if he would have done what the policeman asked, he'd still be alive. Jeff Baker says, unfortunately, officers need to fire their weapon till the threat is no longer a threat. And that's the policy, right? You're shooting, you're matching the force. You're fighting force with force. Because this officer could have died in, even just letting go from the car. He could have been seriously hurt. But, had that, and I don't want to speculate or say what if. We see what happened. It is what it is. So, part of that, and when I've been speaking with law enforcement over the years, is you fight force with, you have to match the force that's being used against you. And then it's kind of like +1 to mitigate that threat. TD says that's just it. It's unprecedented. Instinct for self-preservation in both cases takes over, which is actually a kind of interesting point. Danielle wonders, what was a 6-year-old doing in the front passenger seat anyway? Isn't that illegal? Yeah, and that's what the police officer had actually said in that video. You hear it on the tape. He says, he should have been in the back seat. His seat is there. Why is he in the front seat? Danielle says all the driver had to do was stop and listen to the officer. Linda wondering, was the 6-year-old a relative? Why was he in the car? I believe he was a relative. And you hear in the video police watching and listening as that driver was on the phone with someone speaking to, I believe, the boy's mother or the driver's sister. I'm not sure what the relative connection is, but there certainly is a connection in that car with that driver. Cindy, good morning to you. That is unbelievable. What is a child doing in the front seat? Where is this man's head? The child is going to have to live with this. So sad. And that's kind of my point, right? Like, these children are going through such traumatic moments so early in their lives that now it is so important for us to come together and say, okay, like, this needs to stop. The violence, the gun violence, the young people seeing this firsthand. I mean, we have a 3-year-old in Buffalo who was shot dead, and his 7-year-old sister who witnessed this, who was also in the hospital. And, it's the same thing with her. It's kind of like we have to wrap our arms around her as well. That was on Domitian for a graduation party recently, and kind of make sure that she is not part of that cyclical violence. Melly says, prayers to this family. They've faced so much in the last few years. Exactly. And it's a really sad situation on all ends. Justin says the driver decided the actions and the outcome. Interesting point. And you're right, Jeff. There was a loaded pistol, according to police, under his seat that police found when he was, unfortunately killed, and they searched his car. Yes, Megan, they did find it. Marie says driver didn't even know the address of the boy. He asked what the address was to the boy. Kelly wondering, do I have any concern for the officer? I did not express that. The officer had to defend his life and the life of the 6-year-old child in the front seat. Yes, of course. And I think I don't want to take sides here by any means, but I certainly did express concern for the officer when I first started speaking about this, because, I said, what if the cop was killed if he had let go? You've got to match forces, basically, and then +1 is what I've been told. I don't want to take sides in this, and I certainly don't want to be pro-police or pro-victim. And I want to make sure that we're being very careful in what we're saying here, because it's such a sticky situation for our family, for the police. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that guy who takes sides here, because that's not our job. Our job is to report the facts and certainly listen to your voice on this. But yes, I certainly am concerned for that police officer's life and all the police officers that I have in my own family. I would never want this to happen to them, and certainly would never want them to be put in a situation where they have to open fire and use their service weapon, because it's just as traumatic for those police officers as it is for the family. Danielle says, how was the officer even able to pull out his gun and shoot while holding onto the car, going at a high rate of speed? Thank God the child wasn't accidentally shot in the process. No doubt. No doubt. And as I've said, the 6-year-old is of utmost concern now. Linda, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You're expressing this very well, Ed. Marguerite, you're too kind. And certainly not up there on Walter Cronkite's level, but I do appreciate the compliment. Sarah wants to see the body camera video. Yes, we can roll it again for you. And maybe I step out here, John, and we roll the body camera with the net sound. Does that work for you? Let's do that.
Kill me, bro. Kill me, bro. Kill me. Kill me, bro.
Okay. So that's the clip of the officer driving away while the driver driving away with the officer hanging on for dear life, literally. And you hear the officer saying, "You're going to kill me, bro. You're going to kill me, bro." I mean, the police officer walked up to the driver and was totally cool, like even chatting with the kid. Like, I know it's so sad. I'm really, it's so hard to describe what might be happening here all around, and to understand the complexity of the situation. And somebody mentioned that there's the race factor here, because, and people are playing the race card, is what the commenter said this morning. And I just want to be very clear here that this really is not a race-related issue. However, there's always the caveat here. There's always but many people feel like Black people are unfairly targeted. Whether that's valid or, you think otherwise, it is what it is. People have that feeling, and who's to say that they shouldn't have that feeling? Because as we know, Buffalo has this history. Like, if we go to the root cause, there was redlining, putting Black people in one area in particular, which is why the East Side is so predominantly Black. And we all know that this is a reality in our city. So, there may be justification to that thought. But at this point, there is nothing to say that this Black man was pulled over by a white officer for, being Black. And, no one is saying that. We need to be very, very careful here. So, I wanted to point that out, because, that was part of the conversation this morning. TD, good morning to you. Thank you for this conversation. Yeah, it's important that we have this conversation. It's important that we have really controversial conversations, but are civil about them, and we hear voices and opinions on all sides of this, and that's what our jobs are. Connie says, okay, so this officer had a partner. Was he in the car? I don't know if he was in a different car. It seemed to me like he was in a different car, but I don't know if I'm right there, because we see from his body camera, he gets behind the wheel of a car, and I don't know if it was the same car that Ammerman was in, but we see that partner officer drive to almost block the scene and clear the scene. So I don't know where his partner was relative to this situation. I know that he was on the other side of the car and was backing up once Ammerman had asked the driver to get out of the car. Lori says respect for the police officers would have solved this entire scenario. Lynn says that is so scary for the officer and child. The two adults both make a decision. The police officer had to make a decision for the safety of the child, himself, and the community around them. If the police officer let go, he had the chance of getting run over and being killed. I don't know the whole situation, but if the deceased was already endangering the life of this child by allowing him to sit in the front seat and possibly not even their child, there are so many factors that come in. Exactly. Marguerite says it would be interesting to know how many Black officers there are and how many white officers there are in the city of Buffalo. And I mean, Buffalo police have made it clear that they are looking to hire more minority police officers who, are representative of the community. So exactly, Kim, this is not a race factor. And then Kathy says, cops pull you over, you have to obey the law. It just escalates when you don't. It always turns out worse no matter who you are. Great point. Perhaps we put the period at the end of the sentence there. Thanks so much for being with us on a Friday. We appreciate you. Have a great day and an even better weekend. We'll see you Monday.